what, and maybe if we can do that in a short while here too, just give a bit of background footage there so people can see kind of where the park's kind of set up. And again, you guys are, I don't know, looks like 75 to 100 feet away from the actual booths, and you're reading the Bible and praying out loud, but not loud. It sounds like a regular, like I'm talking now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Which should be perfectly legal in the country that we live in. So that's the picture there. And again, you were basically charged with, again, I think it was obstruction of justice, trespassing, and disturbing the peace. Is that right?
Yes.
So, and you were, that's what you're asking the policeman officer, right? How exactly is this disturbing the peace, right?
Yes.
And I think his response was something like, well, it's that kind of language you're using now that's causing, thinking, boy, the language police are getting a little stricter than they used to be.
Yes.
So, any thoughts on that? I guess you went to court and you pleaded not guilty, and so where do you go from now?
Well, on May 14th, I will have to stand in front of the judge, and there will be a trial for my terrible crimes. And
okay.
The police officer that came was really pushing. And I asked him why he wants us being thrown from the park. I said, I'm protected by the Constitution of this country and Charter of Rights. Yeah. I have my legal rights to do what I'm doing. Yeah. And he said, no, in this country, I am the law.
Oh, really? He actually said that?
That's right. And I said, no, sir. In this country, there is still a Constitution and Charter of Rights. And then we went into the arrest and all that stuff. So I didn't make him very happy, I guess, by my statements. And you see, as a citizen of this country, I'm not afraid of the police. Police is to serve and protect.
Well, you come from an interesting background. You're both Polish background, right? I don't know if you're both born there, but Art, you were born there, right?
Yes.
In Poland, and it was communist rule. So you know what it's like not to have the freedom there.
Yes,
the police would arrest people for conversations on the street that were politically incorrect, if you will. And now you come to Canada and you go like, well, hold on, this shouldn't be happening, right? Now, you went to jail that night, right?
Yes.
And tell us about that. It was fascinating. You got to preach, like the Book of Acts, right?
That's right. I first, when he handcuffed me, I said, God, this is really happening. This is like Book of Acts.
It'd be like surreal. Is this really happening?
Yes,
right?
yes. I was just, and that's why you see me smiling in some part of the video, because I said, God, this is really happening. This is really happening to me, and you find me worthy to go through these things. And I was handcuffed, and I went to the car, and I decided that from now on, for the rest of whatever the time I will have to spend, I'm going to preach, like Paul and Silas, like Peter, and the other people that suffered and went through to jail. So in the police vehicle, I preached for about 25 minutes to this police officer that arrested me, telling him I love him regardless what he's doing to me, because my God commands us to love our enemies, love the people that hate us and persecute us. And I said, you arrested me for nothing, but I love you. And he's like looking into my eyes.
That would be pretty weird, eh, for this fella.
It was, because he stops the car in the middle of downtown and he took off from the police vehicle, leaving me there alone. Okay. It just was too much for him to bear. I guess the Spirit of God, the love was too much, and he left. I was transferred to the police station, and they put me into the cell. And
holding cell with a bunch of other criminals, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but they were probably not there for similar crimes, were they?
No, they were brought for domestic abuse. Was a fella from a gang just slashed someone.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff in there.
Yes.
You get all kinds, and you basically preached. And now, did they beat you up? You know what the strange thing is? They listened, right? And you actually said you had some converts and some recommitments, right? That night.
I said we are locked together here. We can't escape, and I'm going to preach all night to you. And I did. I preached the whole night. I preached in 3 different cells. I was taken from one to another every about 5 hours. Yeah. And I preached to all of them. We were singing Amazing Grace together.
Did they sing with you?
Yes, they did.
Come on.
I started.
See, I like that.
By the grace of God. Okay, I'm not a singer. I just asked God, if I'm here, I want to sing, but give me ability to sing. And I started, and they joined me in. I led 2 people to the Lord, and a few others rededicated their lives. And there was a young fella that wanted to commit suicide. And I preached to him straight for 1 hour. And then in the end, he says, Art, I want you to know something. I was listening, and I thank you. But most interesting is the reply, the response of the guards. They were just looking at me, and they couldn't believe what's going on here. Like, the guy is preaching.
What's he doing here?
And I stopped preaching for a while. I got tired. And next door, a fella says, hey, preacher, are you still there? I said, yes. Well, then preach it. So I had to start all over again and just preach. You see, those people are hungry.
That's
for the word
amazing.
of God.
You'd think the opposite would happen. You'd think they'd shut you up and beat you up, you know.
No.
Instead, they're going, you know what? We want to hear this. We need to hear this. It's
Yes.
fascinating. I love the testimony, and I know you got preached at on the street by your brother as well, and it drove you nuts for a while, you were saying, right?
Yeah, it was, well, we came here in 1995, and just after coming here, I joined a group of criminals, basically a gang, and just to get accepted into something, money, and my flesh was overtaking me. So things just get worse, you know. I wanted to be in control. Things got out of control. I started to buy guns, you know. My closet was filled with different weapons. Started selling, started using.
Drugs, it is.
Drugs, alcohol, women. And after 4 years, I miraculously got out of it. Most of my friends were either in jail by that time or dead. And I was at the edge of committing suicide, and they rescued me in a hospital. I said, okay, I got to change my life. It was a little bit of shaking, so I meet two people, and they take me to a rave. So I thought, you know, they told me, oh, it's going to be love, peace, unity, right? So I said, it's better than hate, you know. I mean, people want to kill me on the street. So I go there, and of course I tried the drugs there, and it took me 5 years to realize that it's all a lie. It's all a mirage. It's a devil's playground. So about 10 months ago, I was into cocaine and needles, and at that time I have broken all of the commandments. Basically, Art was preaching in the area where I would buy and sell drugs, just to get my fix, just to forget of who I was, of what I've done. The darkness overwhelmed. Was overwhelming. I started to experience very weird attacks. You can say possessions of a demon. I started to hear things, see things.
And did these sermons tug at your heart at all from your brother?
Actually, what happened is I would be showing him fingers from the
it's
place.
not the little finger or the
middle fingers.
I know which one it was. Okay. All right, yep.
And I was, you know, every time I would see him, you know, he would just put these seeds in me, and you know, really I wanted what he had, but at the same time I wanted to kill what he has.
Sure.
And one day I was at my house, and I was in such rage. I have lost basically everything I hold dear to me. It's like the devil came and took everything in an instant, and I wanted to commit suicide again. That was 10 months ago, and I'm walking from wall to wall, and I said, Jesus, if you're real, come.
Yeah.
And I remember all of a sudden my house got filled with such peace. I could swim in it. I could compare it to a liquid honey, as many people say it, and it really, that's how it feels. And I remember going on my knees, repenting, and I have seen two hands in front of me. And one hand was holding life, and the other hand was holding death. And the hand with the life, I could see beautiful things that God has prepared for not only me, but for every person that is willing, just willing to accept Him into his heart. And in that other hand, I've seen death, and I've seen every single sin I have committed.
Yeah.
And a voice came that said, now, my son, choose. And I
wisely.
chose that life. And since that moment, I felt the desire to do drugs leave me, and the desire to drink leave me.
And this is amazing. I mean, I'm looking at you here in 10 months. That's actually quite a turnaround.
Yes.
You know,
I mean,
it
so
was.
you're saying you haven't returned to that lifestyle in that
No.
in those 10 months, and you're actually preaching the gospel now
No,
downtown as well.
it feels like fire burning in my bones. I believe God is raising up prophets like the earth has not seen. People that are not afraid to die.
This
for
is
the name of
encouraging.
Jesus.
You know, I guess when I want to hear testimonies like this that are kind of fresh still, you know, 10 months and well, you know, you can see there's still the fire of God's there, you know, and so hopefully it's contagious to me and to others watching, you know, say, you know, boy, you know, we got to jump on that wagon here too. We have to get some phone calls here as well. Got some people patiently hanging on here, David and Art. All right. I do want to take a look at a curve view here, asking people in the street if they believed it was even possible to get arrested for praying in public here in Calgary or in Canada. And, well, here's the responses from our curve view.